Just like its name suggests, Bwindi Impenetrable Forest is a typical thick rainforest situated in southwestern Uganda along the Democratic Republic of Congo border, just close to the Rift Valley. Described by the UN's intellectual agency UNESCO as an outstanding biological richness, Bwindi Impenetrable Forest is a home to the 321 square kilometer Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, renowned for gorilla trekking. It is a habitat for close to 1,000 endangered mountain gorillas, almost half of the remaining mountain gorillas in the world. While most of the forests in Uganda continue to experience a massive deforestation, with forest cover around these protected areas being converted to agricultural land use, Bwindi Impenetrable Forest, just like other protected forests in the country, has experienced minimal deforestation and forest degradation.
If you benchmark maybe at the 1990, our forest cover was at 24%. But of the 24%, 70% of that 24 was outside protected areas. Protected areas only accounted for 30%. When we come to 2015, the forest cover had reduced to 9%. Now, the 9%, the area where we had 70% had actually lost up to 35%. Where we had 30 in the protected areas, now the forest cover goes to 65.
Environmental scientists attribute the steady conservation of Bwindi Impenetrable Forest, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, because of its ecological importance, to the presence of mountain gorillas within this forest.
Where the gorillas are, the status of that forest reserve changes. It changes from multiple use of the resource to nature conservation. In nature conservation and strict nature conservation, there is no human activity.
The history of protection of this Afro-mountain forest, a rare vegetation type on the African continent, stretches back to 1932, when Bwindi became a game sanctuary to conserve the mountain gorillas.
In 1932, Bwindi was made a game sanctuary to conserve specifically the mountain gorillas in that forest.
The mountain gorillas and several other wild animals in this park needed the forest for privacy in order to replenish. Some trees in this park also need the wild animals for growth.
Conserving wild animals in a way contributes to conservation. However, to have a well-conserved ecosystem, then the forestry must come into play. If it comes into play, then you are creating an environment for the wild animals to flourish, to reproduce, and also contribute in terms of restoration.
Bwindi Impenetrable National Park is characterized by canopy from plant species such as the red stinkwood, Newtonia, Symphonia globulifera, East African yellowwood, and Strombacia shefreli. Some of these species need wild animals to reproduce.
There are some species whose seed will not germinate unless it has gone through the alimentary canal of the animals.
This is the forest gorillas have made, although it came at a price to the Batwa, the indigenous people that lived on the edges of this forest. The Batwa, also known as pygmies because of their height, were the original dwellers of this forest. They also worked as keepers of this forest. They were evicted from their ancestral forest land in Gahinga, Bwindi and Ikuya in southwestern Uganda by the government of Uganda in 1991, with no compensation to pave way for conservation of this area into a national park. And since then, life has not been easy for the now landless Batwa.
Government yatwiha omumahamba agagajya gaba bashwe nkuru bito agutwa turamo echo kurya abo turimo turamanya ngo itaka eryo n'egiitu tukabugana ekizibu cy'itaka.
Ibiti byetu tuba tubirekagaho bikura mu ntunga ubwati y'abantu hariho abarazo babisise babireberera kure kandi bibakora cyane biratubireberera ubwo nati kureba ko twarugireyo twinorosha bwo gushaka rwaye hatwashanga rya sisikere.
However, conservationists say there was no option but to protect the impenetrable forest.
One thing we must be clear of is issues to do with environment and forestry are now not issues of livelihood, as it used to be. It is now an issue.
So, what would become of Bwindi Impenetrable Forest if it had not been gazetted for the mountain gorillas?
I would shudder to think what would have happened if we had not intervened, because I know very many government officials and businessmen were not only selectively cutting mahogany from Bwindi and other areas, but there was a lot of encroachment, there was a lot of gold mining and many other things, and there was a destruction of the general environment. So if this had not happened, I don't know what would be talking about now, because I think the forest would have been invaded.
Elfaz Ahimsiwe, the 85-year-old resident of Buhoma, says life is better now compared to the old days when the Bwindi forest was not gazetted.
The comparing embeera y'obwire omwaka ogwa 91 obwo yabadde gazetted kwikana erizoba nosanga ngo abantu niba preferring embeera eriho awoko bino mu bingi bibagendeye niba ngobamu okukira enyuma okubyabere biri.
Likewise, the endangered mountain gorilla population has increased, doubling in numbers from 400 in 2015 to over 1,000 now.
We registered many births than ever before. I can certainly not attribute this to the lockdown, because the lockdown really started in March, but between that time and now, we got around 9 gorilla babies, and that's perfect news for us.